Okay, so we're going to do headrest. This headrest is used for this style is used for the 80CO2s and the 80CO1 pediatric.
Okay, so there's 1, 2 strips, and then all these little pieces?
Yeah. So it requires 6 pieces.
Wow.
80CO2
and the pediatric.
Okay.
So normally there would be, yeah, they could be any color. I just happen to have the blue cut out, so that's what I'm sewing today.
Okay.
Alright, so first step, these are going to be your strips, your straps. So we're going to do it into thirds. And you get it just as tight and exactly in third as you can. You start right on the edge. I knew that was going to happen. Okay.
You want that stand?
No, there's no place to put it.
You're going to.
You didn't do any back stitches start with, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, that at the end of it's going to go into a seam, so it's not necessary. And you literally want it right on the edge.
Get to the end, put the needle in. Leave the needle in when you turn it.
Oh yeah. Right on the outside edge. If you folded it correctly, you will catch all 3 pieces of fabric. Get rid of your thread. You have 2. It's just one less step to have to cut
Yeah,
the threads.
totally. Just keep on going.
Not to mention you waste thread, which can add up after a while. This is also the same type of technique we use for several smaller straps for chair parties. So I oil it all the time. The oil just kind of flows right through. Luckily, the oil is actually not at all harmful, possibly good for the material. Well, vinyl is a petroleum-based material, so you're basically just adding to it. Okay, now you're going to take them and fold them in half and sew them on the bottom. I'm just going to connect them. You do that with, so here's your seam.
Okay.
You do that with on the inside. Now we're going to sew them together so that when we later put them into the seam, they're together. You do it right on the edge. Oh, the machine did goober it. Okay, now we're going to put these off to the side for later use. Now, out of these 2 pieces, one of them has notches at the top.
Okay, little notch marks.
Yeah, this one is a little bit larger than this piece. Can you see that? Okay. So, we're going to fold this in half. I guess I can do it. And we're going to draw a line from the tip and just put a slight curve down to match that diamond. And then we're going to stitch that. You back stitch. And make sure when you back stitch, you keep your stitching all together. If you back stitch out into here, And when you open it up, you're going to have
Oh yeah.
it very noticeable.
How do you know that curve that you just drew? Just by experience?
The marking.
Yeah, because somebody told me to do it that way. I'm afraid that's all I got for you.
Okay. So it looks like it's maybe a 1/2 inch in the middle, and it's just a general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can grab a ruler. Here's. Just
That's the
do
peak.
the center. Peak.
So, yeah, about a 1/2 inch. So you start on that corner, bring it out to approximately a 1/2 inch, and then curve it into here.
Okay. Scientific as that.
Yeah. Okay. So
Cool.
here's your first piece. Then you take these little wings. You're going to start on the top one. And you want the fat end up. You're going to match this piece to that notch.
Okay.
So generally I put this edge of it up about in the middle of the notch.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So from this angle piece.
Yes.
The top of it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Then you're going to start your seam, and it should be right at the other
Right, the
point
tip
of
of
that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's your seam allowance. It's just about right. Go back stitch. Down around. And then I check to see. It should be approximately, again, somewhere within this notch. Sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes it's not. As long as it is somewhere between these two lines, you're fine.
Does it matter how far in you are when you stitch? You're just going in, looks like about another 1/2 inch or so?
Almost every seam that we do is that 1/2 inch
Okay,
seam.
good.
Unless the pattern specifies other, it is the standard 1/2 inch. So,
Then you turn
you
it
leave
around.
your needle, you turn it around, now you're going to top stitch back up. So, pulling on your fabric, and you want to kind of stretch it to make sure that curve lies flat. And you just kind of go right over the edge. Trim these. That's a little close, but I'll get the other side better. Okay, then we're going to trim it all the way up. Again, as close to the stitching without cutting it so that you don't have any flop. It should be just like right there, nice and even. We're going to start from the bottom on this one. So you check on the outside and see where that end ends up. And you go to this side and you match it. So if for some reason this one's further down, you put it further down. So this side starts at the same distance up on your fabric as this one.
Makes sense.
And you start.
Can you wait for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you pull that back?
Mm-hmm.
So when you fold it, what do you mean by check? Like
Okay.
if
No,
I
no,
check
don't worry
here,
about the bottom. Watch, I'll show
Right
you.
here to here?
Yes. You check. So
Just to make sure
this
that they're
seam.
exact.
that they're, yeah. So where, and you look, you don't look at this piece. You look at where this
Oh,
edge
I
to
see.
edge.
Okay.
See?
Okay, I see
Okay.
what you're talking about.
So where you're going to start it here is going to be approximately in the same position on that V as this side right here.
Right.
And when you come up and you get a little, right about around there, you check where, see where you're going to end up. So you want this to be, again, in approximately the same position as this. So that little blue that you can see is right at the beginning of your deal. So when you look over here, that one is also right about there. And when you sew this, you're going to come right up to that tip. Get just beyond it. Turn it over. And continue back down to with your top stitching. which should generally be about 1/4 of an inch wide. Making sure your seam is going the right way. The purpose of top stitching is to keep that seam
Nice and flat.
nice and flat. Trim all your stuff. Trim your seam. If you do it with from this direction, you can see that this is standing right up. If you try and do it from this way, you can't really see. You take a chance of actually cutting this part of the material.
It's a little tougher to guide yourself.
Make
Right.
sure that the seam is towards you while cutting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Coming towards.
Okay. Now, we take our other piece, our final piece of the puzzle here, and we're going to notch that in the middle.
How much?
Okay, so slow down.
Just a little.
Okay, so notch in
I
the.
know you're just
A notch in the
flying
middle.
through it.
Just
Okay.
to mark it.
Okay.
That's for when we have to stuff it later. So I know where the middle of that piece is. Now you match your ends. And again with the 1/4 inch seam. Back stitch. This is always going to be a little off, as you can see, because that's there and that's here. You kind of keep it. You want to bring your sewing up to that where that stitch is, where that starts. You want to start it over there. And you just kind of scooch this over. Watch your seams. You get just so far up. Now you got to make sure they're going to meet. As you can see, this one's a lot longer. So then you start pulling on the bottom one. I wait till I get right about there. Turn the top piece, not the bottom one. You want the bottom one to continue straight. Match them up. Straight up that stitch. And you want to go down the other side. Same principle. You start with them even. Back stitch. Get to right where your top stitching is. And then start manipulating the material to go where you want it to go. Down to, again, where your top stitching ends. Turn it and look at there, they match. Trim your corners. Okay, now, now we're going to add the straps. You're going to shove them in here. And this seam that's on your inside, you want it to be on the inside. When you turn this right side out and you look at it, you want the seams to be facing each other and on the inside of your product. Line it up. Back stitch. And now you're going to trim it.
Okay.
So these corners, you're going to cut those corners out. All this here, you're just going to trim that in. You don't want to trim it too much because you do have to top stitch at a later date. Same thing here where this is all not the same. You just trim that so it's even. And then take that corner off. So that it should look like that.
Oh, cool.
Okay, now you're going to turn it right side out. everything nice and tight. Now we're going to do the top stitch. We have this handy dandy little thing over here. We're going to mark it. So those little diamonds that we have on the inside, now it's for this. Get it as flat, pull all your seams straight. You match diamond to diamond in the middle. That means you have the same amount on both sides. You lay this down. And not too dark because you don't want to mark the material too much, but you do want to be able to see it. And we can almost see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very light.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get it a little darker. I haven't done too many in the blue, so it really shows up in the gray. Erase it. It's still not going to show too much, but so that you have that in there.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to top stitch, and I need one more little thing over here. Yes. Okay. So it's just little scrap pieces of Duratex. So we cut in a square. We're going to sew that into this one point so that the fabric doesn't pull apart.
So to reinforce it just a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so make sure all the seams are pulled tight. You start about halfway through this strap. Do your 1/4 inch top seam. When you do this, you gotta be careful, make sure that you have enough room. Lift your needle enough to hold the material, but not enough. Because it's really thick and your fabric will rip in there. Okay, you match the diamonds again. Make sure that you got this going the right way. And then you want to pull these seams flat. You want to make sure that this is from here to here, that seam's all nice and flat. Same with over here. You want to make sure that this whole piece is where it needs to be. Pull this. You're going to top stitch. You're going to go right to where that line is. You're going to turn it.
Now you're following the pencil line?
Now I'm following the pencil line. You want to keep this all nice and tight. And take this little piece of Duratex. You're going to place it inside in your diamonds. Just right below.
Okay.
That way, because you're going to stitch to there, and that way this Duratex will reinforce right there. And you're going to stitch right up to that stitch, that seam. We'll meet it right there. Now you're going to follow the pencil line down the other side. Again, making sure that you pulled this. All this over here. You want to pull that flat and out of the way. You go down and you stop approximately the same distance on this side as you are on that side. Turn it. Down. Judge where your stitching is here. Turn it. Match your stitching. Because you're stitching over stitching and it just makes for more.
Too much.
And there we go.
Wow.
Good job. Are you doing more?
I got one more piece.
Oh.
Another one. Go if you gotta go. There.
So that's the pediatric.
This is the pediatric
Okay.
headrest, yeah. And or for the O2.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're both the same. It's just literally a different color or a different, and then I already showed you how to stuff them out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.